Udah mulai.
Masih kurang satu ya, kritikus ya.
Kurang satu.
Ya udah, langsung mulai aja nggak apa-apa.
Ini nggak ada ini ya bang.
Iya, atur dulu aja.
Windows 10.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Nice to meet you all of you guys. Our pleasure is mine to see all of you here today. Before we start the presentation, please let me introduce my group. We are from group 1 about communication and network. My name is Arif Alfian as a spokesman, and then Nova Wildan Nico as leader group 1. Hai. Muhammad Fajar Siddiq as a secretary, and then River and Rivansha as a critikus and questioner. Okay, now let's start the presentation. This is slide outline. What is communication? Computer communication and network. Online communication. Netiquette. Communication is a process where two entity or more are exchanging information through the media. Computer communication, process in which two or more computer or device transfer data, instruction, and information. This is a network. A network is a collection of computer and device connected together, often wirelessly through communication device and transmission data. In figure 3, hierarchical diagram of a network.
Langsung gabungan kritikus kan?
Iya.
Ya langsung aja.
Well, the next presentation will be explained by Irfansha. Mati.
Kabel.
Enggak, laptopnya juga mati.
Oh.
Kalau laptopnya mati, Pak.
Abang sambil cat.
Oh iya benar.
Cas.
Ini udah sampai malam mau ditutup?
Enggak, udah nyampe ini. Sekarang udah selesai. Yeah, Irfansha, take your time.
I will try to explain the difference between line, and WAN. Okay, first one, line is designed with aim that result can be shared between personal computer or workstation. So LAN is only for personal computers. And MAN is a network with a site between LAN and WAN. It's a link for an area within one city. So MAN is merge of the personal computer. So it have many computers inside the MAN. And the last is WAN. WAN is allow the transmission of data, image, audio, and video communication over long distance over a large geographic area. Inside of WAN is have a many MAN. It has map of the many personal computers. It cover geographical like countries of cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Irfansyah. Next, and this is a picture of LAN, WAN, and MAN. Well, the next presentation will be explained by Rafli.
Okay, thank you. Next is online communication. So the internet has completely changed our communication like never before. Nowadays, the internet has become our basic needs of everyday life. So internet changed our communication process, which is next. So how actually communication occur via the internet? As information that's sent via the internet to reach its destination, computers or devices had to communicate with each other too. Computers or devices communicate with each other through a series of protocols that must be fulfilled before sending and receiving transmitted information in the form of binary digits. The internet services. So communication through the internet has a certain services. In the term of online communication, internet services divided into two types of communication. The first one is asynchronous communication, and the second is synchronous. The difference between these two types of communication is how people communicate with each other as a communicators and as a communicant. So in asynchronous, the people who engage in a communication is not in the same time. So it's not a real-time communication. Well, on the other hand, in synchronous, it is at the real time. So the communicant and the communicator will have a communication in a real time. Next, maybe.
Yeah, thank you.
Next,
Yeah,
I give it to
River.
River. Yeah.
Next will be explained by River.
I will explain online communication through asynchronous media can be accessed with this type of devices. The first one is chat or messaging app. It's a feature to connect user chats with one another in real time. The second one is email. Email is electronic email. Is a means of sending letters in digital format via computer or network slides. Next. The third one is VoIP, voice over internet protocol. VoIP is a technology that enables long-distance voice conversation over the internet. The fourth, video conference. Okay, next. As well through the virtual world, there is also a set of ethics in virtual world. Their name is netiquette. Netiquette is sets of ethics and rules for using the internet. These rules concerns the limits and the best way to use internet facilities. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, River. Okay, enough for presentation from one. Sorry for mistakes. Any question?
Ada yang mau bertanya nggak? Disebutin ya nanti kalau mau nanya apa namanya terus dari mana gitu. Nggak ada yang mau nanya? Ayo masuk poin nih.
Okay, first, thanks for your presentation about internet and communication. So my name is Muhammad Kaskaji and I'm from Group 2. And my PM is triple D 219068. And you have talking about communication and networks. So before the explanation from Rafi, he will explain about sending the data by digital era. So have you an idea how the data can be sent in the era before the digital era was coming? Have you maybe some idea or maybe have some data how the data can be sent in order from the sender to the receiver? What the media you can use for sending the data? When I think all of us we know about analog television. Maybe you can explain about analog communication in past era. Okay, that's my questions.
Thank you for question, Ika.
Okay, so Eka is talking about how data is transferred in the past time, right? So in the past time, the data is different from digital. The digital world is using the binary digit or other digital form like octal, decimal, or hexadecimal. But in the past, the analog communication is just using electrical current. The first one is telegraph. Telegraph is the first ever communication that using analog electrical current. So in the past, they are using the electrical current to communicate with each other. But in the present time, it's all about sending data, not just with electrical current, but the light wave, but in optical. So in the past, there's actually not very significant difference in the term of sending data from one person to another point. So it's basically the same. In the past, the analog communication is actually using the electrical current too. In meantime, in this present time, they are using the electrical current too. It can be via wired network or anything. But today, we are using the wireless communication too. We are sending information through electromagnetic waves. Maybe it's my answer for your question.
Okay, I think I have a feedback from your answer before. So you have talking about the frequencies communications, like electromagnetic field for the communication and sending the data by the electromagnetic field. And my question is how you can make this is like you have 5 persons who want to send the data, and from the 5 persons is have personal destination too. So what are the ideas for the communication? Why the communication cannot be disturbed from the one data to each other of the data? How the data can be divided into the frequencies in Indonesia, especially according to the Ministry of Information and Technology. So that's my questions and my feedback.
So you are talking about how people, many people, accessing the wireless communication at the same time. As we know, in basic of telecommunication, we know we had multiple access. So everyone can communicate in the same time at the same frequency using the multiple access. So people can communicate with each other with multiple access. So they define it. It can be code division, or frequency division, or amplitude division. So that's how people can communicate simultaneously simultaneously with wireless communication is using multiple access, like code division, frequency division, or amplitude division. And for standard for Indonesia is frequency for communication frequency.
Yes.
Actually, I don't really know much about it, so maybe that's my answer for it.
Okay, also the great answer, also for your answers. Thank you very much.
Okay. That's all for this. That's all from us.
Okay, I think I have one basis here. For you, Irfan, yeah, right? Yeah. Okay. You have explained about the internet protocol communication by LAN, MAN, and WAN. And we have and also you was explain about the definition and this is like simply for the implementation. But can you actually explain about the topologies for LAN communication, such as like star topologies or cyclical topologies or anything else you know about topologies for the network communication?
Maybe you can make the single question. It's hard to. You can help, Mr. Faulkner.
No.
Okay, I can answer your question. I only remember about the star topology. Star topology is only it has two devices. One is a server and one is a client. The computers in server is like placed in the middle, and the others is the like stars in the as a client. The server is give information and give information to the other clients, and that and the server can give the information without any disturb to other clients. If one client is have an error, the other client doesn't give have any impact to the have any impact.
Okay. So basically, if there's any problem with one PC or maybe in one node, we can talk in. This is like a node. PC is a node in network communication. So if there's one PC have a problem, so the other PC will be will have the same problem too. Like that? No. Okay. So you can you explain about the stars topologies is from one PC to one server, right? And how about if I have 5 or maybe 10 PCs? Can I use the star topologies?
5 or 10 pieces.
Yes.
I'm not getting it.
Okay. It's okay. Okay.
And if only have an under 10, maybe if you have a 5 pieces, maybe it can
It can be implemented by
by
star
the
topologies.
star
Okay. Very nice question. Very nice answer. Okay. Thank you.
Udah nggak ada. Sebenarnya masih sampai 69. Nggak ada batasan sebenarnya, mah kalau masih ada yang mau nanya aja.
Ya, Alsa.
Tapi kalau udah cukup ya udah. Ya.
I just want to someone explain to me how one man works.
Gimana kan?
One man works.
Explain.
Oke. One, main nama lain.
yang mesti menjawab nggak mesti harus satu orang ya.
Iya.
Pertanyaan buat ke Arif nih. Yang lain kalau menjawab nggak apa-apa gitu.
Yes, sir. LAN is designed with the aim that a resource can be shared between personal computer or workstation. Resources that are shared or shared may include hardware and software. For example, printers, application program, or data. LAN. MAN is a network with a size between LAN and WAN. Usually covers an area with one city. This network is designed for customers who need high-speed connection, usually to the internet, and have endpoint spread over a city or part of a city. Another example is the cable TV network, which was originally designed only for the cable TV. And one is interconnection between MAN. Internet, as its name suggests, is an interconnect network of WAN.
Amsa kalau belum paham, tanya aja sih nggak apa-apa. Paham nggak tadi?
Wow, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Yahanda. I'm from C Group. I will ask the question. There is the file transfer. FTP, ya.
Transfer protocol.
Yeah, file transfer protocol. How to work from the file transfer protocol?
Maybe I can trying to answer your question. So FTP or file transfer protocol is actually one of the internet services. The first one is FTP is commonly found in local area network. So file transfer protocol is sending a file or information through a network, which is using it can be wired or wirelessly. So the file transfer protocol. So the files is transferred to the local area network using TCP or IP protocol. So it basically just communication between two computers that are sharing files together using networks, using internet networks. It can be local area network or it can be internet. In the larger term is internet. In the smallest term is local area network. So FTP is basically internet service just used for transferring files using the internet communication. So FTP is actually just a file sharing system using internet. So that's FTP.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Okay. Is there any other question?
Wajib 10 kan terus hanya
Excuse me.
Yes, my name is Mayurita, and we are from Dubai.
In the development of this era, will Indonesia in the future be able to create kind of search engine like Google?
Create of search engine.
Yes, if not, why? Cannot, why? Understand?
Can you repeat your question?
Oh yes, in the development of this era.
Ismail, suaranya agak kencengan ya.
Oh yes.
Ya.
Sorry, Mr. T. In the development of this era, will Indonesia in the future be able to create kind of search engine like Google? If cannot, why?
Okay, I'm trying to process your question. So your question is actually talking about, is it possible to make another search engine?
Yes.
Okay, so to build up a search engine like our government do is, take an example of our government is planning to build a search engine that can competitors as Google. So building a search engine is not simple as it sounds. So a search engine is basically search engine is a complex system of web services. So search engine, it has a lot of resources, So actually, is it possible to make another search engine? It's possible, but it has a lot of resources to make a search engine. It's possible to make another search engine, but it is take a lot of resources to make a search engine. It's possible.
Yes, it is possible. Thank you.
Okay, from Pak Supri, the group which have a presentation can ask the audience. You can ask randomly and try to your participant. You have choose to explain again, or maybe you can ask something about your explanation. So you can choose the people here who attended this event. So you can ask random questions based on your presentation.
Boleh nanya nih?
Boleh. Ya.
Kamu ini pilih satu lagu ini nih? You know, it's really important architecture, right? And what I mentioned before is which type of network architecture is most suitable in an office with a fewer computer that have same capacity and have same power that are to be connected together.
So you are talking about topology,
Yeah.
network topology. So in your case, you have several PCs in an office, and what is the best topology for that network?
Yeah.
Okay, so it depends actually. It depends how you want to communicate with our PCs. It depends. It can be bus, it can be star, it can be mesh. So it depends. It actually depends how you want to communicate with your PC. So it depends. But in the simplest term, the bus is most suitable if it's not a complex system with several CPs in an office. A bus is just perfectly fit. It's just right. Bus is preferable, but you can be using mesh topology for continuous communication of computers. So it actually depends on how you want to communicate with your PC. It depends. there is no standard for that. It depends on the communication. So topology is not a standard, but it depends on how we need it, how we want the busy to communicate. So it depends. Not there is no standard for that. Thank you. Any other questions?
This you can choose one person or maybe it's possible you can choose persons randomly this year and you can ask about your presentation.
Okay. That works. Okay. Does anyone can explain the diagram of this network in the simplest term? Anyone can explain it in the simplest term? So what is local area network, metropolitan area network, wide area network, or even the internet? Can you explain it in the simplest term? So this is diagram can be explained in the simplest term.
Ditunjuk oleh
Maya dulu, Maya dulu.
Yang penting ada.
I already expressed. Iya.
ada lah. Eka.
Oh iya. Yang
Ya.
Okay, maybe bisa deh.
Bisa bukti.
Start is topologies to connect the computer in this room. Terus man is topologies to connect other computer in this city atau kota ya. Terus one is topologies computer to connect the other computer in the negara country ya. Terus the internet is untuk komunikasi di semuanya gitu. Yes. This for the episode.
Okay, so Isa's answer is actually quite good. So, yes, so LAN or local area network is network that only in a local, like this building with that building, and MEN or metropolitan area network is actually just between cities. So, Cilegon City between Cilegon City with Serang City is communicate with each other. It's called metropolitan area network. Wide area network is wider. That's hence the name wide wide area network. So what wide area network is actually a communication or a network between between cities or between continents. Between continents. The internet is a global network. It is connecting other continents with one backbone. It's internet. So LAN or local area network is a smallest unit of network, and the internet is the biggest unit of the network. That's all.
Cukup? Kalau cukup, ya silahkan dicukupkan aja kalau udah cukup.
Okay, maybe that's enough from our presentation. I hope all of you can find something useful from our presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.